Kirk Hilliard.
This is Rusty Byrd. It's the Kirk and Byrd Show. We're blessed to have with us today Coach Jack Esbury of the Patrick Henry High School. Is it Patriots?
You got it.
Yeah.
Roanoke.
All right. Coach, thank you for joining us. Coach,
my pleasure, man.
It has one of the best teams in Virginia basketball. They only have 2 losses. They're out there, and the school is Patrick Henry-Roanoke. Now, we have 3 Patrick Henrys in this state, and we have about 5 independents and a bunch of other things. But we got the best Patrick Henry right here today with us. Coach, thanks again for joining us. We want to talk about your basketball season and learn a little bit more about you.
Hey, my pleasure. Hey, one thing on the 3 Patrick Henrys, we were looking for our uniforms one year. My dealer said, hey, they're sent. They're delivered. They're delivered. They're there. I'm like, they are not here. And he went back and checked, saying it was in the Patrick Henry Ashland.
Ashland. Yeah.
Anyhow, there are quite a few.
Yeah. Well, both are very good story programs. But as always, we were chatting before we officially start recording, and there's a lot of great stuff to talk about. But before we get started, please subscribe to us, leave a comment. You can share it, spread it around. And, the more people that know about this, we're going to talk to Coach about his team, but we're also going to talk about a lot of 5 because we've already been doing that. So the folks in Loudoun County and Hampton Roads, we're going to get some scouting done here. On some teams you may not know about. So we'd appreciate if you did that. But
we really want to learn a lot more about, again, our show is based on the fact that we're from the 757 and we live in the 703.
Yep.
But I went to college in the 804 VCU, and he went, back then it was the 703, but it's 540 he went to Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
We want to know a little bit more about that region, Coach. And we want to see if those are real basketball fans out there. And the way you're going to show us is by subscribing on this episode and watching. Coach, we typically get about 1 to 2 million views per episode. So let's see if you can match that with your audience.
Yeah. We'll get to, your wheelhouse of Thriller came out during your time. Purple Rain was 83, 84. So we'll get to all that. But Coach, all right. So tell us about your team, and then let's talk a little bit about what you're facing.
2 great senior leaders, Brooks Deary, probably headed to Randolph-Macon, really good players, played for me 4 years. Great shot, great defender, 6'2", 6'3" kid, all around good athlete. And then we got a transfer this year from Northside, Sidney Webb. He came in to play football, stellar quarterback. He's got some offers from VMI and Kent State, if my memory serves me correctly.
Okay.
And he's just, a tremendous leader. I can't say enough of what he's done for our team. He's just added, not that we were a soft team, but he just came in with an alpha dog mentality. And just really made us a tougher team. He's a point guard. He's a 2 guard. Guard's the best defender.
Coach, we've never seen your team play, but can you describe your style of play? And what I want to get at is it's changed for a lot of coaches over these past 5, 10, 15. Again, I've been refereeing for almost 30 years.
Okay. And
I've seen it. Steph Curry has had a major impact on a lot of this. But what is your current style of play? And I guess I want to know, again, about how many 3-pointers are y'all putting up? And then if you do have a big man, do you go back to maybe a style of play where you're dumping it inside? But tell us about how you guys play. And then was that always what you did?
Yeah, it's funny that you asked that because the thing that I've always done, I learned it in college. We play half-court man-D. And we stress. And anyone who came out of my program over the 28 years will tell you, hey, if you play defense for Esbury, he'll let you get shots. He's not, you play defense and rebound for me, you can get on the court. So we average probably, we've had a game where we've had 12 threes in a game. We shoot a lot of threes. And
okay.
I say we shoot a lot of threes because we are able to make a lot of threes. Abu and Brooks and Sid and 4 of my 5 starters are all shooting over 40% from the arc. Yeah, Rusty. I know, right? Like when I look at our stats, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like they do. So, and defensively, like we're going to make you drive. We're not going to overhelp. We'd rather have you finish at the rim on a tough deuce than get a wide open kick out 3.
Yeah. Wow.
I think that's how the game.
Yeah.
The word overhelp, I don't think was in my vocabulary 7 years ago. And now, do not overhelp. Do not overhelp. 7 years ago it was help D, help D, help D. Now it's don't overhelp. Don't leave. Don't leave the shooter.
Right. So that's a good scouting report. You, it's funny that you brought up because we were talking to Coach Gauls at Kicktan last night, and I'm picking Menchville. So you asked me if I think Menchville's the best team in the state.
I did, yeah.
I just said, but based on who I've seen, because I know the players they have, and Coach Struthers does a great job. He's our age and played at Christopher Newport from Suffolk. But I just,
Coach, I always, whoever the guest is, I say they're going to win the state. So I think Patrick.
Oh yeah, he always does that. He brown noses. Yeah, so he's going to pick you. He's going to pick you, and then
hey, no, I see Menchville, and they have like the ideal 6'2",
AJ Clark.
6'3", 6'4" kids. They trap you, they press you, they're interchangeable, they're relentless for 4 quarters. Hey, they are tough.
Coach,
they're like the 89 Illinois team. Yeah. So you brought up a good point because people our age are used to the big man as king. And I go to these games and it's so hard to get used to it, but you shoot. And I'll see a 6'6", 6'7" kid that can play. And I'm like, man, put him in the low post and feed him until they stop him. That's how my coach would have done it. If you got a big man, roll with it, but I rarely see that. So do you pack it in if you got a size advantage?
Actually, we do have a Boo, and he is phenomenal in the post. I mean, he's just a skilled player. And like I said, you're going to put a 6 foot, 6'2" kid on him. We do throw him in the post, and we bring our shooters on a stagger around. And, if you don't double it, we're going to have shooters open. If you don't double it, we're going into a Boo, and that makes us a tough matchup offensively. So, no, we do. He's a very, very good post player.
Yeah. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Rusty. I just never see a post up, I see 6'6" guys coming out to the top of the key, all the time. And I just don't get that. But a little nugget for you. I'm looking up the bracket, and I would say, unless you don't do well, you're going to play Potomac Falls one way or the other. So I've seen them play. Very good team. Coach Halls does a good job. But I would tell you this, I would pack it in, man. If you got a post player, I would pack it in. I would guard their guards more. I saw them play last week, and he's a tactician. But I'm so glad you brought that up, because when I watched Potomac Falls playing, I'm like, a big guy who's good will give this team problems. There's your scouting report. I'm sure you've seen film.
Yeah, I've seen them twice too. And, hey, NFHS has made scouting. I mean, hey, like I've watched Potomac Falls 2 or 3 times, when I see the bracket come out. So, yeah, you don't have to drive 4 hours to scout a game.
And I always had like the access or some access because I ref and all, but during COVID, I was like, that's how you had to watch games. Since then, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can watch everybody.
Yeah.
I can pull up a snippet. That has been great. And like I said, before I was like, $70 or whatever. Now, like,
Yep. Well, another one.
So, Coach,
I'll just point out one more thing. So Potomac Falls has a 6'6", kind of like a swing player, Colby Margano, number 22. He's got a good crossover. It's a lot quicker than it looks from the stands. You get down on the floor, and he's got a shot. He brings it up a little low, but he can nail it, and he's confident. So when you play them, there's some bulletin board material for Albemarle in these teams. But when you play them, I think that'll be a good matchup. And if it's here, then I'm going to see you play. But go ahead, Rusty. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, we've learned a lot about your team in this year and what you look to do. But tell us about this great career. Over 400 wins, close to 500. Tell us about some of the players that you've coached over this. What has it been? 20-some years.
27,
28th year.
Yeah. Tell us about some of those players.
Well, what's really, I laugh all the time. Two things in life I love watching. I love watching my kids parent.
Oh.
I love watching my kids parent. It just makes me chuckle. And I love watching my ex-players coach. I mean, my whole staff is ex-players. So they all know me. And they'll say stuff to my players, and it just, my God, it's just like, where have you heard that before? I do have a great staff. They've all played college.
About that, I totally can relate. And I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I played for the great Dennis Kozlowski at Bethel. I played football for him. He's won a number of. He coached Allen Iverson right after me, but he won 3 football, a bunch of track state championships, and he was the hardest coach I thought in the world. And man, I used to think, I sound just like my coach these last 20-some years. So I totally understand. I used to think he's the word, but I get it.
No, it's refreshing. What's wrong with these kids, Coach? I'm like, man, they're the same kids you were. Ain't nothing wrong with them.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I was like, all right, we're at 19 minutes. So this is the part for maybe the coaches and the parents. It may not be too good for the parents, but I interviewed Boo Williams for my old podcast, and I was like, all right, tell me about what's changed. He's like, and I want to get your opinion on this. He goes, the kids are the same. It's the parents. How do you feel?
101%.
Hades, yes. Yes, sir.
Hey, kids are kids. The old saying is, not to just, kids aren't born with any, they grow up, they learn it. It's a learned behavior. That is the toughest part of this job, high school coach.
Bruce Arians. It's from Pennsylvania. Right?
York.
Isn't he from like York, Lancaster?
He's from York.
He's from York. So he talks about being raised in Pennsylvania in the 60s and 70s.
He got kicked out of Catholic school, by the way. Bruce Arians got kicked out of Catholic school.
Hey, Rusty, if I can interrupt you for a minute. Denny Green, old Vikings coach.
Denny Green.
5 houses up the street from me.
Oh, wow. He's Harrisburg.
Yep.
There you go.
It's, God, you got me thinking back now. I can remember, after school, I can remember Mom yelling, "Hey, it's dinner time," and that's the only time I would be in the house after school until it was dark, and then the park got lights. And on a Saturday, man, you were up. The whole thing, drinking out of the hose in the backyard.
Now we pay $3 for a bottle of water.
Hey, you just didn't go in the house on a Saturday or Sunday. You were outside. You go to church, come home from church and change and go to the park. And that's just where everybody went. Nobody stayed inside. God, in Pennsylvania, a lot of snow. My gosh, we'd be like, hey, can I borrow a neighbor's shovel? We 3 want to, we go down and shovel the court off. I mean, I can remember playing basketball with gloves on, literally.
Yeah.
And
Coach,
it's kind of, I'm old and you say everything, but when I tell my kids that, they just laugh at me. It was all, that's all we did, play sports. That's all we did, Russ.
Coach, we were just talking, my wife and I were talking this morning also about this, because we have a neighbor that's just 2 doors down. And I was like, hey, what their kids do? I know they were pretty good athletes. And we're like, I haven't really talked to their parents or my neighbors 2 doors down in a year and a half, and I'm like, our kids kind of play together, but we were saying we made our kids go out and play. No, you're not going to be up in this house. I didn't even let them know I had a PlayStation in the basement, but they didn't know what it was. They just thought that's what you played the DVDs on. And because I hid the controllers, but I made them go out and play. But I will say this, and my friend Darren Fullwood talked about this. We're also a little more protective. I was telling my wife, I was like, you know what? We used to go play basketball when I was in Denby. And I used to walk so far to go to this park when I was like in the 7th grade. My brother was in the 5th. Or when we went to this one playground in our apartment complex, I was like, my brother was in 2nd, so I was in 4th. And my mom, what was she doing? Like, we never would let our kids do that. But
hey, but no. So to that point, though, Rusty, like, you hear the phrase, "It takes a community to raise a kid," and that's kind of how it was, though, because other parents would look out for me, and my mom and dad would look out for other kids too. It was more of a community. Like, I have 3 or 4 parents that come to my mind that aren't mine who would, they would look out for me. They would feed me. They would, and vice versa. So like, it's just not like that anymore.
No, it's not. It's not. But Coach,
hold on. I gotta get this in.
Okay.
I used to ride a bicycle on streets that I would have a heart attack if my kids were riding a bike on. I'm talking highways, man. Highways all the time.
Yeah, but that's how the conversation started, because my wife was like, yeah, our kids used to ride their bike. I said, Leah, they only rode their bike up and down our street on the sidewalk. I would be on my bike, like you said, Kirk, I was gone so far away. So if my parents knew, they would have been worried. But I'm like going through traffic. And the other thing, I had a moped in the 9th grade when I was 15.
Whoa, you living large, Rusty.
Dog, man, it was because my parents were divorced and my dad was so guilty. So he got me a moped. And I was thinking, there's no way I would get my kids a moped. I used to go everywhere. And I didn't know the rules. I mean, I was driving all in and out of traffic. I almost got me and my friend Marcus killed one time. But
hey, Coach, before we let you go, we always talk about how great athletes Virginia has, especially Eastern 757. So it's funny. I looked up, and Pennsylvania is illustrious. But I'll tell you what crushes the 757 and football players is Western PA.
Absolutely.
Joe Montana, Dan Marino, Johnny Unitas, Jim Kelly. I go on Tony Dorsett. And then basketball, you got Wilt and Kobe. Not bad from PA. But it's like there's no comparison to that old school Pennsylvania football.
No, hey, one thing about Pennsylvania, now it's changed now, but when I was there, 70s, early 80s, it changed like mid 80s. So Pennsylvania would have their Western Western semifinal.
Right.
Pennsylvania would have their Eastern semifinal, and they would play in the state final. So it'd be a Western champ, Eastern champ, and they would play in the Pennsylvania state finals. But they never let the Philadelphia city schools play in the state tournament. They made them have their own city tournament because they were just too damn good.
That was not going to be fair.
Yeah.
So the Philadelphia city schools were never allowed to participate. I don't even know how legally they got around that, but of course, Lower Marion and Kobe, I mean, that's what you're dealing with in the Philly city schools. That's a whole different game there.
One of my best friends in college, he played basketball at GW in Philly. And when I went home with him one summer and we hung out for a long weekend. All his friends that played college basketball, they are basketball crazy. Like that's all they talked about and did. Like every day we had to go. We were just hooping, Yep. They could ball, and that's what it was all about, man. Yeah. Coach, this has been fun. You would think we've known each other for years, but this is what the show is all about.
I booked the talent.
Yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
And all you coaches ignoring us, this is what you're missing, man. Yeah.
Well, first of all, you hear how he said he booked the time. He booked you. I've never been ignored. When I book them, they're coming on, Coach. They see his. They're like, I don't know what I do. Okay.
Hey, well, I got this email from the 757, you guys, Rusty and Kirk from the 757. And the first thing I'm like, hey, what does the 757 want to talk to someone from Southwest Virginia for? We ain't got nothing down here. That's all. Hey, we do have a little chip on our shoulder. We ain't the 757.
Well, I'll tell you what, people are missing out because Southwest Virginia as a whole has phenomenal athletes. Mac McClung just won the dunk
Oh,
contest.
shoot. Yeah.
And he's from Gate City. Gate City's a little town. I've been to downtown Gate City. I've eaten there. I used to sell software to their school system. It's right on the Tennessee border. Matter of fact, when you go down there, my people are from Wise. So I got deep roots in coal country, but you actually go into the fastest way to get into downtown Gate City is you go into Tennessee and you like come back up. But yeah, and there's a lot of athletes from that area that are outstanding. Rondé Barber from Cave Spring is in the Hall of Fame. Tiki Barber, we go on. Bernard Basham at Patrick Henry. Yeah, a lot of great players. But all right, Coach, we're gonna let you go. But yeah, I picked Potomac Falls and Riverside.
All right.
So,
Coach, I got you.
Your kids.
Class 5 state champion, y'all. Remember, I said it.
Right.
Patrick Henry.
Hey, you guys have been fun. I enjoyed my hour, man. I appreciate y'all, and thanks for coming.
Yeah, hey, look, Coach.
And I look forward to catching up with y'all again.
All right, Coach.
We really appreciate it, man. You've been
hey,
great.
Thanks, guys. I enjoyed it.
Yep.